main B plus 100 volt.
Roger, main B 100 volt. Okay, stand by 13, we're looking at it.
Hey guys, Simply Rocco here. On February 25th, 2021, I had an interview with politician, libertarian Larry Sharpe on his show, The Sharpe Way. We talked about child support and how it's affecting dads in New York State and around the country. It was an hour-long interview, and it was a lot of information that I gave out. And with Larry's permission, I am rebroadcasting the interview on all my channels, and hopefully you enjoy this informative interview on what certain men go through. And stay tuned. Here we go, guys.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Sharpe Way Show. I'm so happy that you are with me this amazing Thursday evening. It is 7 p.m. on the East Coast, which means you got to look at my mug. That's kind of how it works. That's the rules. That's what actually happens. And I appreciate all the time and energy that you guys have been giving me recently. I am very lucky today. I have with me the man himself, a gamer, a Twitcher. Or is that what you call? I don't know what you call it.
That's the first time I ever heard it.
There we go. I've just made it up. You are now a Twitcher. The man himself who's been through what I got to say is a very tough road in the family law and the family court system. Simply Rocco, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and honored, of course, to be on your show.
I appreciate you taking the time and also being open to sharing your story, which is a personal one, and it can be a hurtful one. But I think there's a lot of Americans, particularly New Yorkers, but Americans as a whole, who have been going through the horror that can be family law, the shock that can be family court, not understanding what can happen, and then seeing the damage and trying to recover and somehow rebuild and put yourself together from the damages of family law. So thank you for that.
Not a problem.
You were married twice.
Yes.
Your first marriage, how many kids did you have in your first marriage?
One.
You had one kid in your first marriage, and you got divorced.
Yes.
What did you think was going to happen to your kid? Like, were you aware of how difficult this was? Were you naive at the time? Where was your head when you were like, okay, this is it, we're getting divorced? And were you like, my kid's in trouble, or we're fine? What were you thinking?
No, at that time I was still young, and also I was trying to figure out myself as well as, because when I got married, I was young and stupid. Of course, the second time around, I was young, but I mean, I was also stupid. The second time around, twice, So basically, on the first time around, and I would say this right now, I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm not here to talk bad or anything like that. Just want to give my experiences. So what happened is, at the beginning, I wasn't really sure. I was able to get my own place. My parents were still alive at that time, so they helped me get a place of my own. And I got a place that was so I could be close to my daughter.
Sure.
And that's something that I always said, that I never wanted to leave New York because my kids are here.
Yep.
And I always said that. So in the beginning it was okay. Once I started dating again, that's where the problem started.
Okay, so let me be clear. When you got divorced, did you move out right away, or were you one of those people who kind of got divorced? Are you still hanging around? Or
No,
I
was
out.
Yeah, I was out before. Yeah, I was out.
So you got out, you got divorced, and was co-parenting going relatively well?
For the most part, we tried to stay friends,
Okay.
But like I said, at the time, it just got a little bit more tense that, there was dating. I was dating. I didn't care if she dated. I was already, divorced. I didn't care, whatever.
Right.
It was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started dating, though, I mean, I guess there was some sort of animosity, thinking that maybe there was some control that was being lost. Maybe I don't know if people
So what you felt, if I'm
feel that.
you
Yeah.
felt like she was upset that you were dating. She didn't like it.
Mhm.
And you
Yeah.
think, do you feel like, and I'm not saying it's true, I'm asking your emotion. Did you feel like she was trying to be angry and show you her anger or her ire?
Um, for my own personal life, no, but there were times that there were arguments about my daughter. I wanted to spend more time with her,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to be in her life. And I have to say, with both my marriages, my kids were never denied me for visitation. Nothing
Oh,
like that.
nice. Very good.
That I got to put out there right away before people think that the worst of it. That's not what happened. Um,
Well, because you know that spouses have used any type of tragedy as an excuse to alienate another parent.
yeah, and honestly, that nobody's perfect. That did happen from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest. That did happen on both sides. That also happened in the second marriage. But yeah, it was.
So let me walk down that road for a second. Your
Yeah.
first marriage. Were there times that you felt yourself wanting to punish your ex-wife? Did you feel it sometimes, like you wanted to punish her? Did you get angry that you wanted to, and your emotion was like, I should punish her, but you thought, you know what, my daughter, let me not do this?
Yes, absolutely. And if I were to say no, I would say to everybody that's bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody feels that way when you have kids. And I'm going to say it, for people who don't have kids, they're not going to understand this. When you have kids, your kids are the most important thing to you. It's plain and simple. Regardless of your financial situation, regardless of your personal situation, trying to get yourself settled and everything like
Mm-hmm.
that. Your kids are your kids. Um, so at
Okay.
times, sometimes it felt like that, because I felt like, you know, I there were times I wanted to be with my daughter. There were the weekends I wanted to take her, or whatever, and there were times that she's like, no. There was
Mm-hmm.
nothing really set in place.
Got it.
So
Okay. So your daughter now is in her 20s, correct?
yeah,
That
she's
daughter's now in
20.
her 20s?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's
Okay.
yeah.
So if you look back at that time,
Mhm.
do you think, as she looks back at it, does she get how important she was to you? Is it clear to her now?
I would like to say yes. I hope so. There are some frictions between us still to this day. I
Sure.
gotta say, hey, listen, there were a lot of things that happened during the second marriage, and that she holds me responsible for,
Mm-hmm.
my daughter, and it still sticks with her, and it hurts me too, because it's like, you know, she was too young to go through all that crap.
That's exactly what I bring up, because people don't realize that when you have to go through a family court system, it isn't only the parents that suffer, it's also the kids,
Yeah.
right? Everybody
Mhm.
suffers.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you, you get divorced. It's not that bad. There's some struggles, but co-parenting is relatively okay.
Hmm.
Were you sour on getting married again, or were you like, nah, it's fine, I'll get married again?
Yeah, I never expected it to
Mm-hmm.
happen. I dated someone in between that, lasted about a year, but it didn't work out. And then about a few months later, I met my second ex-wife. We were together for like 6 months. We got married. She got pregnant. Got married. I think it was the right thing for me to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to be with her at that time. And we were together for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, things were not that great.
But
And
you had 3 kids with her?
3 kids. Yeah.
Okay, so when you're with your second wife
Mhm.
at this point, how was your first daughter handling this? Is she like, this is
She
great,
was
I got a big
5.
family? Was she like, oh my God, my dad doesn't love me anymore? Something in between? Where
No,
was
she was about 5 or 6, so she was okay with it.
Mhm.
Uh, when I got married again, my first ex-wife, we weren't getting along at all, because there were just a lot of problems with that. We ended up going to court, getting lawyers and everything to actually set up the actual child support order or agreement. after we were already divorced. And
So what was happening? Were you not paying before?
I was trying to pay as much as I can. I
Mhm.
wasn't making very much money. I was trying to do as much as I can. It wasn't enough. I guess it was according to, we made an agreement.
Well, look,
Okay, and
you're
then
looking back at it now, right? It's
mhm,
many years ago, almost what, 20 years ago or so in that area,
yeah,
15
yeah,
years ago.
yes.
As you're looking back now, do you now think you were doing the best you could or not?
Yes. At
Oh,
that
good.
time, yes.
Okay.
At that time, yes. I gotta be honest. I wasn't making much money.
Hmm.
I was working in a bank as a customer service rep, making 23 a year
Hmm.
back in 1999, 2000.
Hmm.
Even back then, it's really not that much.
Hmm.
So I mean, I was trying to do the best I can. Plus the fact that I was married again, had another kid. It wasn't easy,
Right.
even though she was working too. I mean, and the financial situation just wasn't working out from the beginning.
Got it.
The whole situation wasn't
So
working
the
out.
first wife said, you know what? We need to go to court and we need to get
Yeah.
something that's going to force you to pay.
Well,
That's what she
oh,
was thinking.
I actually, I actually brought that up.
You brought it up.
I did. Yes, I was the one who initiated that because I wanted, and this was the wrong thing for me to do. I wanted to have full custody of my oldest daughter, and that
Oh,
was
yeah.
that was out of anger,
Hmm.
stress, part of my second ex-wife getting involved, which she should have never done in the first place. But yeah, it
No,
was a
you
whole
you
convoluted situation. It was,
you are bringing up issues that so many people deal with. I hear this all the time.
mhm,
I want full custody. You shouldn't have custody. And you have a second family and you want to bring your first family into your second family. And
right.
the other spouse now doesn't like the fact that you have two families, right? All that stuff.
Mhm,
All the time, it just adds fuel to the fire
mhm,
and the emotions blind our judgment.
yeah.
But the thing that I realized as I crossed New York State, I think I told you this earlier when we were talking before. When I first heard the horror stories about family court, I didn't believe them. And I don't mean to disrespect anybody who's been through it, but I hadn't been through it. So I just couldn't imagine that the family system would be that bad. I couldn't imagine it in my head. And then when I heard the same horror stories crossing the state, 5 different people, 5 different counties, similar stories, I thought, holy shit, this is real.
Yeah.
This is real.
Nobody will understand it unless they go through it themselves.
And the other thing I found also is most people, when they go through it, they think it's just them. They don't
Oh,
get that a lot of other people are having the same problems they're having. It's one of the reasons why I talk about it so much. It's one reason why I have you on. There's guaranteed people who are watching or listening to this who are saying, holy crap, yeah, me too, man. Yeah, me too.
yeah.
Yeah, me too. Lots of
I've heard
people
it.
are thinking that.
I've heard it a couple of times from other people as well. I look through the Facebook groups, Instagram, the Father's Right movement, and I've seen comments and that were a lot worse than mine.
Mhm.
My situation at times was bad, but over the years has gotten much better. Gotta say that, I'm not in the same situation I was back then, but there's still times that stuff is still there because the fact of the matter is, New York State is the only place, as far as I know, New York State is the only state that you have to pay child support till the kid is 21,
Mm.
even though they're considered an adult at 18.
Yep.
Now, I don't mind paying child support. I don't mind helping for my kids. That's not a problem. Not a problem with that.
Mhm.
I do have a problem with the courts or the child support saying, "Oh, you make this amount gross, so okay, you have to pay this amount."
Yep.
I don't care about your rent. I
Yep.
don't care about your food, your
Yep.
bills, anything like that. So that's the problem that I've had for years.
Yes.
Um, and believe me, there was
And
times.
then trying to actually lower it is virtually impossible.
Oh no, 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 no,
It's
no, no,
impossible.
no, 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 no.
So you lost
Yeah,
your job, too bad.
yeah,
Your job got, changed, too bad. Your boss has put you on half hours, too bad.
yeah.
You owe the money, pay it. They make it to where the money is more important than the father. And why that bothers me personally, right? All the other things bother me on a almost a voyeuristic side. I can't stand seeing it. Bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's personal for me. My father died when I was 12. I didn't have a father as a teenage boy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why I joined the Marine Corps is I was running away trying to find positive male role models I didn't have in my life. I would have taken a broke dad who loved me over anything else, over dead dad any day of the week, over any amount of money that you could have written me a check for, I don't know, $100,000 when I was 12. I would say, no, thank you. I'd rather have a dad who loves me. I'll take that instead. Keep the money. I'll take a broke dad. I'll take a dad who is a bad communicator, a dad who is not the best, husband to my mom, a dad who's broke. I'll take that over nothing. Over nothing.
Yeah, and I gotta say also, like, I was definitely not the best husband, definitely not the best father at the time either. And like I said, I was young and stupid. I was too young to get involved in all of that. As the years went by and as the experience goes by, I see now where my faults are, and I say are, not were, are. They still are at times. Now I'm really starting to try to get myself situated. There was several years that there was a lot of self-abuse on me, trying to punish myself because of what I was going through. People, and it wasn't drinking, it wasn't drugs, it was mass depression, staying at home alone, not doing anything, coming home, just going straight to bed from work. 6 o'clock at night. I mean, it was pretty pathetic, to be honest. If you saw me between
I get it.
4 years ago until now, yeah, I was a completely different person.
Let me grab a couple of comments if I can.
Yeah.
Jimmy says, family court. Here's a story of my life. I paid child support while I raised 3 girls. Wow. Jimmy, wow. Okay. All right, there we go. Thomas says, I remember being young and stupid. Now I'm older. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe still stupid. We all are, I think.
We're all stupid in some way, yeah.
Yes. Sam says, co-parenting is tough stuff. Yes, absolutely. But you're co-parenting now from your second wife, correct?
Trying to, yeah. I mean, like I said, she doesn't deny me seeing them or anything like that. We do have arguments all the time about certain things, especially financial.
Sure.
My kids will be misbehaving, and I gotta say this: when you're living in a separate household from where you are, you're not living with your ex-wife anymore. There's going to be a lot of complaints about how the kids' behavior is, what they're doing, stuff like that. I've gotten to the point that, listen, I know that I can talk to them, but the fact of the matter is that's your house. Okay. You wanted this. You wanted to be divorced. You didn't want me there. That's fine. Now, all of a sudden, when they're misbehaving, oh, they're my kids too. It's like, you can't have one without the other. And I was like, listen, I can talk to them. I'll talk to them. Sure. I can talk to them while I'm blue in the face, but will they listen? No, it's your house. You have to put the foot down and get tough with it.
Shelley says family court is designed by suffering. Ouch.
You know what? I got to agree with you on that. When I went the last time to get an adjustment, my ex-wife now, about 3 years ago, she took me to get an increase. And I thought I was going to be okay. I didn't think I was going to be paying too much. I went back with her, we were talking, whatever. I went in there. This is what the guy did. They call them magistrates. And you're not going to a family court. You're actually going to like this little courtroom. It's basically for child support. And what the guy did, he goes, okay, do you have your W-2 and your tax return and your pay stubs? I had mine. She didn't have hers. And this was me being stupid because I was actually going to agree to have the increase and say, listen, I'll help with the kids. You want to go through that? Fine. I didn't know how much it was going to be. So when the guy went through all my pay stubs that I had, and they don't care about your rent. They don't want to
Yep.
see that. They don't care about your bills or anything. They just want to see your gross pay.
Yep.
Oh, you're making this much? Okay, let's add that. Oh, I see you had some overtime throughout the year. Let's add that in there. Regardless of the fact if you have overtime in the future or not.
Mm-hmm.
They calculate that in there as well. So once you have that all in there, oh, this is the amount you have to pay. I was like, how the hell am I going to be paying that while trying to pay rent?
You just
Food?
brought up a point that really drives me
That's-
crazy. And the point is that you just brought up is the system is set for the person who is the most honest to be screwed.
Yeah.
The more honest and forward you are, the more you'll be screwed. It encourages and assists the deadbeat dad, right? If you're actually a deadbeat dad, you're gonna make out like there's no tomorrow.
Well, no. Actually, let me interrupt you there. Like, if you're a deadbeat dad, hell, your ass deserves to get taken to court. Absolutely. If you're not paying your just due, absolutely. But when it comes to people who are doing the best they can, trying to pay the best they can for their kids, then you get belittled for it, berated, looked at like like you're a piece of shit.
Yep.
Excuse my language, but
no, it's true.
It gets frustrating. It gets depressing. And you saw the other night when I reached out to you on Twitter, I was like, I didn't know what to do, because it's like, this has been stuff that wasn't really bothering me as much. But when the other night I took my son to the hospital, he had to go to the ER. He was having issues. So I said, okay, I'll take you. So the hospital's like, okay, I was waiting for him while he was in triage getting checked in. The security guard was telling everybody you can't stay here because of the COVID and everything. You know how it is right now. So I said, well, I'm waiting for my son to come out from triage, and I want to see what's going on. He goes, how old's your son? He's 19. Well, you can't go in there. He's an adult. Okay. He's 18, an adult. So when I was thinking,
why are you paying child support still? Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So yes, you are now required by law to support an adult. But look, Rocco, I know you well enough that if your son needed money and you had it, you'd give it to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd give it to him. If he needed money and you had it, you'd give it to him.
Absolutely.
The court doesn't have to order you to do that. Right?
Yeah.
I completely agree. So Jason says something needs to be done with the courts and the way fathers are treated. And this is a valid point. People sometimes get mad when they say, well, they mess up women too. They do. That's true.
Yeah. No, I'm going to say that. Yeah, absolutely. There's women who have to pay child support. Yeah.
It's just percentage-wise, they hammer men a whole lot worse. By percentage, they hammer men a whole lot worse. But they beat up women too. The point is they're only concerned about the money and the dollars. And one of the reasons most people don't know this, New York State, it's a racket. You pay your child support through the state. And the state gets a cut. Most people, this blows people's mind when I tell them this. The state gets a cut like a credit card company.
Yep.
This is revenue generating. The fact that we are getting divorced and paying child support generates revenue for the state. So it's in the state's best interest to raise that number as high as they can so that they can get a bigger cut. And judges are actually known for how much money they bring in. That's a true, it shouldn't exist, but it's completely true. Absolutely. It is insane. And Jimmy says, family court does not care about fathers. They can and will squeeze blood out of a turnip. Well, here's the part that bothers me, Rocco. This is the worst part. If the court says you have to pay X dollars no matter what, and now you're struggling to survive and you got to live in a studio apartment, you can't go out and do things you want to do. You can't be the man you want to be. So now what does your son or daughter see? Your son or daughter sees a broken man as a father.
And that's how I've been for years. I don't go out. I don't go out. I mean, even before the whole I'll call it the coof, just because you're because you're on YouTube. I don't want get stuff getting flagged too. So that's what I call it. That's the term going around on YouTube for the whole thing. But even before then, I never did that much. It was a treat for me to go out because number one, I never really had the money to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I just didn't feel like I stopped cooking years ago. I just recently started getting back into cooking because of my health situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that I wanted to talk about too. When you're in depression and you're self hurting, you hurt yourself in different ways.
You become self-destructive. You're totally right.
And my way of doing it was I was eating fast food. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Hey, breakfast time, right before work, McDonald's is right there. Boom. It's cheap, it's fast, whatever.
Yep.
Lunchtime, oh, let's go back to McDonald's. It's the cheapest place in Manhattan.
Yep.
To be honest, even though it's expensive. Dinner time, I come home, I didn't have money or I didn't have food in the house, and many times I just didn't either eat or maybe get delivery or get McDonald's on the way home.
Sure.
So it was at this point now my health has suffered just for that. I'm now type 2 diabetic. I have cirrhosis of the liver, fatty liver disease, stage 4. I really did a number on myself. This was going on for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know where that's going to take me, to be honest, but it's just like I saw, Lance, I saw Supersize Me. I was reading a comment right there.
But no, I'm with you. We become self-destructive, and my problem is, as much as you may destroy yourself, and I don't want you to destroy yourself, but it's not just you who suffers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is your family and your daughter and your sons and your family who looks and says, my dad's broken. Oh my God. We don't want to see our parents broken. And the courts don't understand that. And a strong male role model has value to both boys and girls. And a broken male role model, I mean, look, if you're a son looks up to their father, I say this when it comes to the black community and all the black men getting arrested and getting put in prison. Right? A little different, but the same concept. If every black man you see who you look up to goes to jail, you think, I'm a young black boy, I'm going to jail. They're all going to jail. That's what they do. And if you're a girl, how are you going to have good relationships with men when you think they're all going to go off in jail and get in trouble? Well, if your dad is in a bad spot, that's going to affect your relationships if you're a daughter, or it's going to affect your self-esteem if you're a son. It's going to affect them all. Right. I remember in my own world, right? I remember being happy when I made it past 41 years old. Why? My dad died at 41. I still remember that. I'm like, I made it. Look at me. I'm going. I made it past 41. Look at me go. It's like, now I got bonus time. Look at me go. It's awesome. So the issue I'm seeing is I can get why you'd be self-destructive completely. It makes total sense. And it doesn't only affect you. It affects us around you too.
It affects everyone around me. It affects my kids, so how they look at me. My fiance has been worried sick about me. I just said it. I'm engaged again. Different situation, but that's another story altogether.
The question is, are you wiser this time?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, no, very, very wise about it. She's a great woman. She's a lot younger. It's a long distance relationship. We've been together for going on 5 years.
Look at you. I like that. Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations.
Yeah, there was a lot of criticism about that. Number one. Number two, criticism for me to go see her because she's in a different country. When people were like, "Oh, well, you're struggling. You can't even pay your bills and stuff, and you're doing this trip to go across the world." I'm like, "Well, here's my thing. I understand that I'm going through all this, and my point is, number one, it's time for me to be happy.
I think that's a good idea.
And that was my way to do it. Everybody deserves to be happy. And my way of doing was not only being with this person, but taking a trip 2 weeks out of my life to go be not only with her, but see something different in the world.
Absolutely. 100%.
And everybody deserves that. But that's not the way people look at it. People look at it like, well, you're suffering, you're doing this and that. You're not, you shouldn't do anything to make yourself happy. I'm like, why not?
No, I'm with you 100%. All I'm saying is, if you are in a better spot, then your kids will also be in a better spot. Now, money is an important thing. Absolutely. I'm not against people paying their bills. I want you to pay your bills. I want everybody to pay their bills. And I want people to have money. Money's great. I hope you have it. But you and I both know this. money doesn't make you happy. Money can make your life easier. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. But it doesn't mean that you'll necessarily be happy. And most of my time with my father, we were poor in the South Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
And I still loved it. I didn't care if we were poor. I still have fond memories of that time being poor, right? I have fond memories of that because that's when I had my father with me for most of my life. My father and my mother got me out of the South Bronx when I was 11. My father died when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
So I only had 1 year with him not being poor in the Bronx. But I still have nothing but positive views about this, right? And that's why I keep saying we're focusing on the dollar signs. And while the dollar signs are important, they shouldn't be the primary. The primary should be, and I spoke about it constantly, should be children with kin as much as possible.
Yeah.
As much as possible. So what, dad's in a 1-bedroom or dad's in a studio? So what? Give dad the son or the daughter to be with for the weekend or whatever the case may be. It's important that they spend time with their father.
And that's something I never had, that was never denied me. There were times that I couldn't, that mentally, and I wasn't up to it, to be honest, because I was going through depression or whatever.
Sure.
And my place was a disaster. My place is still not that great. But I mean, I
get it.
It hurts.
Yep.
Like I said, people won't understand this unless they go through it. They've gone through it themselves. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. I really
Let me grab some more comments.
Yep.
Kate says, everything about family court needs reformed. I'm a mother that has been fighting grandparents, for over 6 years. After my son's father passed, his family came after me. Me and his father never had a custody agreement and always got along and shared him equally. Wow. So grandparents come after you. Look at that. Jason says, family court would not credit me any money back for a child I paid for that was deceased for over a year. Wow. But again, it's a racket.
That's surprising though. Yeah.
It's a racket.
Yeah.
Right. They want their cash. Absolutely.
I actually got
Nicole
lucky.
says, hey, Peter.
Oh yeah. I know. I saw that. I didn't want to interrupt you, but yeah, I mean, I got lucky when my oldest daughter's child support ended. My employer was still sending money until, so I had to physically go to the child support office and tell them, listen, she's 21. This needs to stop as soon as possible. And they said, well, you still have a balance in there because, your job sent you money. What do you want to do? You want us to send a check back? I was like, no, just if it's possible, transfer it to the other one, because to the other order for my second ex-wife. And they did that. The secret, I'm going to tell you the secret of dealing with the child support office in person.
Okay.
The secret is being as nice as possible, polite, saying, smiling, saying hello, not causing an issue, because they are used to fathers being pissed off.
Oh, sure.
They're used to the confrontation. So when you sit down at the desk, at their desk, their face is like, what the hell you want now? And that's where, and I've had people, not to say that I play their feelings at all, not at all. But the secret is, you got to kill them with kindness. And
that's good advice. I like that advice.
Really, talk to them in a way that, that they would want to be talked to, because I know they're used to constant confrontation. Is not a good place to be. Working in the city, especially in New York City, it's got to be a pain in the ass as it is. But then working in child support enforcement, I know, I could just imagine, because I see fathers coming in yelling at these people.
Absolutely. They're going crazy.
That's not who I want. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be.
So definitely. Nicole says, in Arizona, child support can go until they finish college if they live in the home.
I was looking at that online. If they're going to college, they could petition to keep it after 18. Yeah.
Wow. Shelly says, my brother-in-law just finished paying child support on his 42-year-old son. Shelly, is that a typo or is that real?
Well, if they're behind.
Oh,
if they're behind.
Got it. Okay.
Like right now, Larry, right now I'm severely behind. I think I said this. I am over $14,000 behind right now.
Wow.
Because my job never received the update, like that when we went to the last adjustment. My job never got the update that they were supposed to pay more. And I went twice to the child support office say, listen, can you please send this again so they can adjust it? And they never did. So it just kept on growing and growing and growing. And you get to the point that you just like you don't even want to deal with them anymore. Calling on the phone is absolutely worthless.
Well, there we
Absolutely
go.
worthless. And you're waiting an hour trying to get in touch with somebody. Going in person, yeah, like I'd be nice and everything. That I see that they put it through, but whether the employer receives it or not, that's a whole other story. Because I had a weekend job on top of that, that they were supposed to cancel the child support for the first, also for the first order for my oldest.
Mm-hmm.
They never did that. So every time I work, if I work for that second employer, they call it's like an on-call thing. If I do work for them, they're still sending child support to both.
Wow.
And then child support has to go and transfer that money to the second order.
Wow.
It's like somebody's either like somebody's got their head up their ass or something. I don't know.
There we go.
It's
Charlie says family court in all 50 states is the clearest manifestation of government corruption and it's removed from the real world. Wow. That's something. Yes. Wow. Thomas says, my wife left me when she was stateside and I was in Korea. Oh, that sucks.
Mhm.
My lawyer said I could probably get supervised visitation when I go stateside. I got a better lawyer. Good, Thomas. I'm glad to hear that. Very nice. Very nice. Daniel says, thanks for sharing, Pete. And I agree. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate you sharing.
I went to high school with him, actually.
There we go. Yeah. I appreciate you doing this. Yeah. Yes, 100%. It's a good story. Jimmy says, I went to jail 13 times for child support. One of those, I had a zero balance. The amount of times I've heard people get arrested, lose licenses, lose professional licenses, driver's licenses, go to jail. I mean, what logic in the world does our country think it makes sense? Oh, you can't pay child support? Let me make it harder. Let me make it harder. So you can't drive or can't do your job. Let me put you in jail to make sure you lose your job. That's our system. Our system is that stupid. And any judge who thinks it's a good idea, shame on you. Mm-hmm. Shame on you, judge, for thinking that's a good idea. I don't care if it's the law or not. You know that shouldn't happen. You know you're just crushing people. You know you're devastating people. Stop it. Why would you do that? It is an embarrassment. We should never do it ever.
I got lucky because my license got suspended several times, and it came back every time I paid it up to date. But I don't have a car anymore. I since I was divorced anymore, and I worked in the city, so it really didn't bother me. But if I had to use a car to get to work back and forth, and if I got pulled over, I probably would have landed my ass in jail.
Yep,
absolutely, for driving with a suspended license or getting the car towed, whatever. And now at this point, it's like I don't even care if I get a car or not because the where I live now, I live in Staten Island. Mm-hmm. I used to work in Manhattan, or I technically I still do until they decide to let us come back. But I was taking public transportation anyways. Yep. So the only time I might need a car is on the weekend. So it really didn't bother me. At the time, I was like, oh, damn, I can't.
Yeah, but you live in the city. Imagine if you lived in upstate New York.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. How are you going to get around?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yep. It's crazy. Matt says, I've been raising my child alone for his entire life after his mother, he puts in quotes, abandoned us. I never got $1 from her, never wanted one because I refused to give her any say in his life after abandoning him. Wow, hardcore, Matt. I'm not sure that if the mother wanted to get back in, she might get back in, man. The courts might jump on her side.
Yep.
I have seen that many times where courts go, I don't care. That's the mother of the child. I've seen and heard of stories and seen people it's happened to where the mother is literally a drug addict. Literally a drug addict in rehabilitation, and they will give the child to the mom over the father, and when the father is completely clean. That's happened more than once. That's a thing. That should not be a thing.
I actually saw a video of that. Somebody had posted it on the Father's Right movement that the kid was screaming, yelling that she did not want to go back with the mother and the mother's boyfriend because they were both doing heroin, and the father knew it. Yep. But the courts sided with the mother.
Yes,
because they take the side of the mother
consistently.
And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying that I'm complaining about certain things.
You should complain. I complain. I'm complaining. Let's complain. I'm complaining. It's fine. You don't have to if you don't
Well,
want to.
I
If
don't,
you're
I
still
don't, I don't
insistent.
want it to be
I'm
like
not.
it's a stereotypical thing that yeah, but the fact of the matter, but it is a fact. The guy could be the best guy in the world and everything, and be there for the daughter, raising the daughter the right way, but the courts will just say, fuck you, and
Yes,
you're gonna go right back to the mother.
absolutely. Missy says, all the stories I hear from father's rights, it's heartbreaking. I agree. So let's go to the other piece you talked about, right? And this is the piece of you kind of coping.
Hmm.
And one of the things you've done is you've turned to gaming
Yeah. Gaming
for
stream.
coping.
Well, actually, it was more streaming than gaming.
Okay.
Originally, I started streaming off of an app about back in 2017. App is no longer around, but I used to do like tours of Times Square on the app.
Mm-hmm.
I grew a big Filipino following from that because a lot of Filipinos were watching it,
Mm-hmm.
and I went from there. The platform went out. I was like, okay. So I was floating around. I saw where other streamers were headed. They went to Twitch, started gaming on Twitch. So I followed them there, and I just went from there.
So
Uh,
that was kind of a community you grew.
yeah, yeah.
Now let me ask you: you have 3 kids who are a little bit younger. Are any of them on that community with you? Do any of them game with you or watch you or stream?
Once in a while, I get my daughter that she wants to play a game with me, and I'll stream it. Yeah, Nicole Justice, she knows which platform it is, but that's where I met her. And also, she'll want to play with me, constantly, because my daughter's got grown very attached to me. She now realizes, you know, everything. She sees everything, and I tell her that this is very important for everybody who's watching this. I tell all my kids, listen, don't take my word for it. It's by nature. Sometimes I'll say something bad about your mom, or their mother will say something bad about me. Don't take for what I say or what she says. Look around your environment. Look around what you see. See how you feel in wherever you're going to be, whether it's at home or here, and then you decide for yourself,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're old enough to realize it. And
Yeah.
that for me has worked, because I'm not taking sides. I'm not saying, well, no, you have to come to me and this. I'm like, no, decide for yourself. Decide
Well,
how.
it's funny you say that, right? I tell a lot of fathers who are in trouble, particularly those who are fighting hard for their children.
Mhm.
And I sometimes give them advice that they don't want to hear sometimes, which is sometimes you have to just surrender. Sometimes there's just no winning.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're just going to lose. Don't spend the time and the money and the energy fighting. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And they'll go, but it's my son or it's my daughter. And I go, I know, if you think you can win, go. If you think you can. But if you're just doing it just to show that you care, it's not worth it.
It's not going to work, because you're going to spend so much money, and if you're going to most likely fail, even with a lawyer, because the lawyer doesn't really give a shit. They just want to get your money.
Yeah, lawyers don't care. What a diverse attorney does is they go, how much money do you have? Oh, that's how much it cost.
Yeah.
So that's what they do. Yes, but no, I agree. And the funny part is lawyers lie. They encourage their people to lie. I was at an event, I think it was in North Country once, and I was talking about this. I was saying how lawyers encourage their clients to lie constantly because they don't treat lying as perjury in the courtroom. So there's really no problem with lying. And a matrimonial attorney was there. She goes, I would never say that. She says it out loud. And I said, great. I'm glad you're one of the good ones. I love that. Are you telling me that isn't being done? And she literally did this. She went. That's what she did. She literally lowered her head and looked away because she knew it was being done the norm. So I agree with you completely. But the advice I give some fathers sometimes is sometimes you're just going to have to wait.
Yeah.
And while your son or daughter may not get it now, give your son or daughter 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and they'll get how much you love them.
Yeah, and
that's the
they're
critical
realizing
piece.
it now, and I thank
Yes.
God for that. They're the two, my oldest son and my youngest daughter. They're realizing now, because my daughter, she wants to come here all the time. She wants to spend the night, chill, relax. She says she's at peace. She doesn't have any issues there. And my oldest son as well. So he was here also, and that day that I had to take him to the emergency room, and he stayed for an extra night, and he was like, he's fine. He was fine with it.
Lance says the only people that win in divorces is lawyers in the state. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
They the moment the judge says, "Oh, both of you come," they're just sitting there, trying to figure stuff out, and you could be sitting back there and not knowing what's going on, and they're making the decision for you, and
you're paying for it,
and you're paying for it still.
Yep, absolutely. Yes. Honesty gets you where jobless, thrown in jail next to the homeless mothers. Go to court to mothers that have paid child support, to mothers get their rights taken while the system has a problem. War in the family. Wow, Leticia, you're going, okay. I think what she's saying is the war in the family. I was arrested in March 2020 because why? And if they hammer men worse. Okay, I'm not sure where she's going, but I think what she's trying to say is that they are using jail as an answer for family problems.
Yeah.
And that's not the right answer.
No, definitely not, because it just makes you lose your job and your income.
Yes.
I'm hoping that point doesn't come, because with the amount that I owe, I mean, I don't know what their options are going to be, because unless I can come up with $480 a week to try to catch up to that, and that's going to take a long time even with that, I don't know what's going to happen with me.
Well, so let me go back to your gaming community. And the reason why I say it is, when people are feeling bad or feeling self-destructive or depressed or whatever the feeling is, very often community is an answer, right? Community will very often be an answer. Yeah. Connection with somebody outside, right? A connection will very often give you some hope or some idea or some emotion or some feeling of positiveness that you sometimes just don't have and that you need. Right. Did you find that in that community or no?
Somewhat, yes. There were a few people that became my close friends. As a matter of fact, one of them, and I'm going to give a plug out to him, Fun Game Reviews on YouTube. He followed me from that platform that failed. And, we became really good friends. He actually helped me sort out my financial situation just this past October, because all these years, and it's basically my fault. I wasn't really financially responsible on anything. I was just spending money on stupid crap. I was supporting other people, other streamers, and I was getting no support back. But it got to the point that I was spending more money on that and not having money to pay my bills, pay my rent. So he basically said, we need to really look at your stuff, your finances. And we did that. And, thank God that, after 4 or 5 months, I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely a lot better than I was. And I thank him for that.
I'm very glad.
But right now, the only thing that's hanging over my shoulder is the child support, because everything else is almost taken care of.
Well, there we go.
Because I sacrificed, and I said, you know what? Do I really need to buy that? Do I really need to go binge shop? That was another thing that I did to myself. I was feeling like shit, and I would go on Amazon and binge shop for crap.
Yep.
I would never use it. And it was like to make me feel better.
Yep.
But then it would end up sitting here, and that's it.
Yes. People buy because it makes them feel good. Absolutely. Yeah. Totally true. And Paula says, great show, informative, but depressing and sad. Yeah, but I hope we can grow from it, Paula.
Yeah, I do. My hope to get out of this is that we'll wake up enough people to realize, hey, yeah, we do need to support our children either through 50-50 parenting and equally, paying for the kids' stuff off the record, off the court's records. Yeah. Because really, ideally, that's how it should be.
Yes.
But in reality, it really isn't. No. I myself don't mind paying the child support, having it taken out of my check, because for me, it's a peace of mind in saying, hey, it's out of my check. You're getting what they're supposed to be saying. Right. That you're going to get. And then you come to me and asking me for more money. I'm like, listen, I already don't have it, because I'm giving you what they're asking for, or what they're saying. And to them, a lot of times it's not enough.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that's the way it is. You're paying what they're saying, and you get to the point that, okay, I'm doing that, but I can't really do anything else.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So Charlie says, good point regarding breaking men. I know a lot of my friends who have had to deal with family court, or my friends who did as kids, and almost always the same: broken, sad fathers. I wonder if any of this actually factors into any of these decisions. And if it does, it doesn't. If it's done with purpose or ignorance, it's ignorance of unintended consequences. That said, if it's ignorance of unintended consequences, the ignorance is now willful. Nicely said, Charlie. I like that. You're right. Now they should know better. Now it is willful. You're right. It is. And my worry is, and when I was crossing the state, I brought this up. If I want to rebuild New York State, how am I going to rebuild New York State with a bunch of broken men? I need men who can get up and get shit done.
Yeah.
That's what I need. How else are we going to fix this place? I need men who can go up and get stuff done. I need kids who aren't broken. Kids who can get their stuff to school and just start business and go to work and get shit done. Right? How do you feel? Because for every...
We also need people who aren't going to vote for Cuomo.
That's true also. Yes. And that. Yes. And that. Yes. Absolutely.
I'm sorry to interrupt you on that because I remember seeing him screaming that, oh, we have to make men pay their child support. Make them pay. Okay, if they're a deadbeat dad, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, but deadbeat dads don't pay. They skip the state. They go to Florida, or they pretend that they have no money, and they lie, and they put their money. Yes.
Yeah. If they get a job off the books, if they get a job on the books, they're totally screwed.
Yep.
Because the social gets picked up right away, so that there's no way to escape that, unless you're going to work under the table. And if you're working under the table, I mean, listen, I don't know what job this day is going to pay that much working under the table, to be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Karen says, how about women getting a better job and supporting their own children? They should pick themselves up and do whatever it takes. That's what I did, instead of dragging the father into court continuously for a few bucks for spite. This makes me so angry. Well, there's some validity to that, Karen, but I also don't want to say that a mom should by default do everything on her own either.
No. And I got to add to that as well, because my second ex-wife, she has a second job, and I think she had a third. She got a third as well, and she works hard. I'll give her credit for that. She works hard, try to get everything that she needs, but she still complains that she doesn't have the money. The way I'm seeing it, and this is only my opinion, I'm not going to say this is fact. I'm not criticizing anybody. The way I'm seeing it, though, is that why are you working a second job? Second job, okay, a third job, plus you're getting money from me, that, plus you're getting money from other sources. Why? It shouldn't be an issue about, hey, I need more money.
But there's another issue that pops up, Karen, and I'm sure you may or may know this, but everyone around her is telling her she deserves it and should push. The lawyer is saying it. Her girlfriends are saying it. The judge is saying it. Society is saying it. Everyone's telling her, why isn't that man paying more? He should pay more money. Everyone's telling her that.
I have to tell you something about that, Larry. One of the times that I did go to the child support office, okay, they play videos on the TV about getting child support done and everything. So they had a story of three women sitting at a table. Oh God. So they were sitting at the table. The one woman was talking about how their baby's father was, sorry, I got a piece of skin there, but how the baby's father was treating her bad or stalking her, or whatever. And I get that, and I get all that. That's fine. That and the other women were like, "Well, are you getting child support?" She's like, "No, I'm too scared." And they're saying, "Well, no, you shouldn't be scared. They'll help you. Child support will help you stay protected, whatever, and you don't even have to go to court with them." Which, okay, in that case, fine. But here's what really got to me about that video. They got one of the girls was saying, "Yeah, you need to get that child support." And I'm not trying to be stereotypical.
No. I've seen the videos. You're right. Yes,
you need to get that child support, girl, because God forbid if he skips town or hooks up with somebody else. And then the baby's mother was like, "Oh my God, if he hooks up with somebody else." Like, they're making it sound like it's such a bad thing for a man to
go off and have a life.
With a life.
Yes.
And I understand, they were trying to push the part where, he was abusive, but at the same time, that kind of got forgotten for a second because, oh my God, the guy may find somebody else. You need to get money and
you better get him now.
Keep that from happening. That's basically what I got from that that's what New York State is putting out there,
Uh-huh.
right in the middle of the child support.
And that's why I'm saying, don't worry about it. That's exactly how it sounds. You have said it perfectly. That's not a stereotype. That's copying what is being said.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it is. Yes, absolutely. Copying what's being said. So Kate says, I'm just so glad to see more libertarians bringing up this issue. I'm pushing for family law reform in Pennsylvania with the Libertarian Party here. Libertarians are the only ones talking about this. We are the only ones talking about fixing family law, family court. The only ones. No one else is. You're totally correct. I appreciate that. Thank you. John says, I made a calculated decision to stay with my lying and crazy ex-wife. Wow. Okay. Till my kids were grown. 4 daughters, and it was 12 long years of living in that nightmare. When we finally split, I had 6 months of child support on my youngest of 4 daughters. The 12 years of horrible living was actually worth the suffering, considering what it would have cost me. Wow. The fact that people think that, what kind of system do we have that worked out for John? Like, that shouldn't have worked out, but he was right. It worked out for him. That shouldn't be true. That's a systemic problem. My God. Well, looking back at it then, I mean, he's bringing up a valid point. Looking back at it, Rocco, is there something you would have done differently with either of your marriages?
I definitely wouldn't have been as, how can I put it, bending to the knee, towards things.
Okay.
But there wasn't much I could do financially. I couldn't afford to get another lawyer. It was impossible for me to do that. And even with the lawyer, I mean, the law is the law. They want you to pay that a specific amount. Now, I managed to get a lower amount, but it wasn't by much.
Right.
You know, the magistrate was actually pretty good the last time we went. He goes, I have a feeling you guys need to hammer some stuff out, because I guess he saw a look on my face, and then he saw a look on her face when she heard that the amount that she was supposed to get. I swear to God, her face looked like the Grinch with the big smile. Like,
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, and I thought to I don't want to say this, but I thought, you're being a scumbag right now, because you know damn well I can't do that.
So let me bring up what Benjamin says. He says, I grew up with divorced parents. I remember having the lights turned off in my mom's house, and my dad paid support, and he suffered too. I don't want to get married because of the consequences of it not working out. Man, I got to tell you, that's a thing. I mean, that's a thing, what Benjamin's talking about. There are a lot of young people now who, because of what they've seen in family law court, are like, I'm never getting married. I'm hooking up my entire life. No kids.
I thought that too. I thought I was never going to get married either. I got married twice, and I'm engaged again. They say third time's a charm. So I'm believing it. You know, it's a different situation. So, we'll see how that goes.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, brother. I hope so.
She even told me, like, you're really lucky, because most women wouldn't even consider staying with you in that kind of situation you've been in. And like, yeah, I know. Trust me. I know.
Yeah, no, I think it does hurt a lot of people, right? It hurts a lot of people for a lot of years, right? For a lot of years. It's crazy how that is. So let me ask you, before we wrap this up, is there something that you want to bring up or talk about that I didn't cover? For those of you who are interested, by the way, heading over to facebook.com/simplyrocco. You can follow Rocco, see what he's doing, what's going on, talk to him, reach out to him, give him a pat in the back, tell him he's crazy for getting married again. Whatever is the thing you want to say, go ahead.
Well, I hope my fiance's not watching right now.
But go ahead, please.
I could say this, that you're not alone. There are a lot more people than I thought. Yeah, I didn't think that many people were going through certain things. There's actually men who just can't handle it, and there's this persona of men that they got to be tough and everything. But in reality, we're all human beings,
just humans, brother. Just humans.
And men, it sounds a little weak, but men have feelings too. Men have hearts. Hearts get broken, and spirits get broken, and it gets better over time. It could take years. Yeah. Believe me. And I know this, it's been 10 years since I got divorced the last time. And there's still times that I just, there's still frustration. There's
Yep.
still that animosity sometimes. And don't get me wrong, listen, we still helped each other out for the sake of the kids. She's done favors for me, like, listen, can you take me to the store or something like that because I don't have a car. And she's like, yeah, sure. But then she'll come back and rub it in my face.
Sure. Yes.
So it's like, yeah, you damned if you do or you damned if you don't.
Well, here is another interesting. Shadow Warden 99 says, yeah, my mother was a drug addict, meth. Mine wasn't meth, but I know the feeling. The police had to pick me up and drop me off to my mother many times after running away to my dad.
Mhm.
Later, a judge gave me an ultimatum: stay with my mom or juvenile detention. I chose detention.
Mm.
Wow. Think about that. The judge said detention or mom. This guy chose detention, and the judge was like, okay. Instead of going, wow, maybe I'm making a mistake and I should give the kid to the dad, the judge said, detention it is.
Yeah, no,
What a horrible judge.
They won't even think like that because it's just one-sided. It really is.
Yeah.
And there's still, like I said, when I reached out to you on Twitter, I was feeling really low because of that situation that, my son went in there. He's 18. He stays by himself. Fine. But I'm like, why am I being put through the stress of having to still support him if he's supposedly a legal adult? He can make his own decisions already. And every other state in the United States, for the most part, says 18, except for when Nicole was saying about the college thing. That part I get. But, a lot of times that doesn't happen.
I agree. Chris Cole says child support is a welfare recovery program and extortion. My money, my kids, my choices. There we go. My money, my kid, my choices. There we go. Iverson says, my ex-wife made more money than me, so she declined the issue of child support so she wouldn't have to pay me. I had primary custody. Interesting. That's an interesting story. I like that one. I like that. Jason says, best thing I've watched in a long time. Thank you, guys. There we go. I appreciate it. That's a great way of wrapping the show up. Rocco, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your story and being very open and raw with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Everybody else, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all tomorrow. I've got a show at 3 and also a show at 7. I will see you all very soon.